Alrighty, so hello and welcome to the fourth episode of the Chimaera Conversations. This is my podcast where I talk about my opinions on all things Star Wars. So, this is filmed live. I say filmed, recorded live in Chewie's Meme Town Discord server. Link to that will be in the description if you want to join and be part of the live chat. So, starting today off, we of course had the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 4. Um, Now, I think this episode was significantly better than the previous episode. Um, the previous episode, as I stated in my last episode, uh, left a lot to be desired. Mainly that biker gang was just kind of out of place. I've come to accept them a little bit more because it has been made clear to me that it is a very George Lucas kind of edition, and that does in fact make sense, as George Lucas did have a movie about like racing, American Graffiti or whatever. I haven't seen it, so I don't really know about it, but a lot of other Star Wars YouTubers have been commenting how it is very George Lucas-esque, so it's gotten a little bit better in my mind. So I don't hate it nearly as much anymore. Um, so the episode, of course, starts out with Boba in the bacta tank, where he has his uh, dream, his dream flashbacks. Uh, so I thought the callback to The Mandalorian, I think it was season 1, chapter 5. Um, I think it was chapter 5 where they go hunt Finnick. Um, I had a feeling that Boba was going to be nearby when they were shooting those flares up in the air, because how else was Boba gonna find where they were? So that made sense. I'm very happy that they are tying this in to the Mandalorian and showing us how he um, rescued Finnick. However, this is I think my only negative about this episode is I did not like the doctor, surgeon, whatever that Boba took her to. Um, I just once again it was that cyberpunk vibe, and I felt that the music was off. It, I don't know, it just didn't resonate with me very well. Um, I would have preferred. I heard, what was it? One of the YouTubers I watch, I can't actually think of. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't even think of who he is right now, his name, but he said that he would have rather had the scene be more like the birth of Darth Vader and have like droids do it, maybe a darker tone rather than cyberpunk techno music blasting. So it that kind of sucked. I didn't like that, but it was over fast, so wasn't too bad of a takeaway. Um, Then Finnick and Boba team up for the first time and go on a heist to steal Slave One. However, I'm sure you guys are all well aware of the controversy, but Boba Fett's ship is not called Slave One anymore. Uh, it is like basically 100% official that it is now going to be referred to as the Fire Spray Gunship. So they're going to refer to the class of ship it is rather than a name. Which that's kind of yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it's still kind of annoying. Um, so Finnick pulls this little tiny probe droid out of her gun stock, and I have to say, I think he deserves a huge following. While I was watching it, actually, the two times I've watched it, I nicknamed him Proby. That little droid. It's Proby now, and I'm a fan of him. He did his job very well and let them know where everybody was. So they sneak in and then they fight the General Grievous chef droid, which everybody's commenting on. I've seen it a million times. So, yeah, the chef droid was spinning his arms like Grievous. Uh, and I gotta say, I loved the rat catcher. That that droid. I think this is the first time we've seen it in live action. But that droid's design appeared in Clone Wars, and this is its first appearance in live action, I think. But yeah, that little bunny droid, yeah. Well, so he didn't commit suicide. He switched himself off because you see him later. You see him later at the dinner with all the crime lords. He's under the table, I think. But yeah, the little bunny droid, the rat catcher, I laughed my butt off. That was hilarious. Really enjoyed that. Um, so the actual fight in the hangar was pretty cool. Got to see Finnick take out some guards and stuff, which I don't think it was any better than any of the fight scenes that we've seen in Mando. Yeah, Finnick takes out a was it Finnick that took out the Gonk droid? She shot it, right? Yeah. She just unnecessarily just shoots a Gonk droid and blows it up. Rest in peace. I hope he's never forgotten. Um, the whole escape was pretty nice, but it's what came after. Absolutely, probably one of my favorite shots of Star Wars now is those biker gangs just going along, and then just Slave One just emerges in the background and just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then just starts lighting up the biker gang. That was amazing. Like, they didn't even stand a chance. But Finnick did raise a good point that got me thinking. She said a biker gang won against Tuscans, and then she said unlikely. So that got me thinking maybe that biker gang was actually framed. Maybe they were framed. Maybe it was the Pikes. I'm just saying. because Finnick herself said that it was unlikely that a gang of bikers could win against Tusken Raiders. So I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there. It might be the Pikes that framed it, but the bikers still deserve to die. Not saying they didn't. So the next scene, they go to the Sarlacc pit. Now, it is completely logical that Boba would think that his armor is down there, because really the first time he really woke up was without his armor. So yeah, he would think that, that'd be the first place to look. We also do get confirmation. I think this is the first time that Boba's armor is in fact Beskar. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it was ever confirmed that his armor was Beskar. I know in Legends it was Durasteel, but I don't even think Durasteel is canon. Dyer, you're the expert on Boba Fett. Chime in, let us know. But yeah, Boba Fett's armor is Beskar. So that's cool. Now that I guess that just, seals in the fact that all Mandalorian's armor is Beskar. Um, but that also raises the question, in The Mandalorian, Din is very, very much indestructible with that Beskar armor. I mean, when he's getting shot by those stormtroopers, all those shots are hitting his Beskar. Like every single shot is hitting the Beskar. But if you watch like Clone Wars, Mandalorians get taken out in like a single shot. So if they're going with all Mandalorian armor is Beskar, then why did those Mandalorians in Clone Wars just get taken out in like a single shot? Like those, if this was the case, the clones of the 501st should not have stood a chance. So, all right, they didn't have full Beskar. All right, I'll accept that. I'll accept that. But I don't know. I always thought to myself that the Mandalorians in the Clone Wars went down a little too easy. So, um, so he goes he goes a little too close to the Sarlacc. Turns out the Sarlacc is still alive and is a grudge, has a grudge. So he tries to eat Slave One, and Finnick drops a seismic charge right down into the Sarlacc's mouth. Says a quippy line, fire in the hole. So the freaking Sarlacc's dead. That's for sure. We know that. Uh, and then Boba goes Sarlacc diving and literally just goes in there to look for his armor. Doesn't find it. He comes out, and Finnick's like, "Oh, it's not healthy for you to be in there with the acid," and then just pours some water on his head. I thought that was funny too. Um, Basically, that was the end of the flashbacks. Now, a lot of YouTubers have been saying that they think that that is the last flashback that we're going to get of this show. Um, I still think there's one more flashback because we have to know how he finds out Cobb Vanth has the armor. Because in season 2 of The Mandalorian, when he walks up, he's like, I'm here for my armor. You got it from Cobb Vanth. So Boba knows Cobb Vanth. So we've got to figure that out. We've got to know how he finds out. I think that's probably going to be the last. And we'll come back. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. Um, so after that, the flashbacks end, and Boba gets out of the back to tank, and now um, the droid says that he is now fully healed. So no more, no more Bacta for Boba. He's good, but not the inside scars. Those take longer to heal. We get to see my boy Black Chrysanthemum again. Uh, Black Chrysanthemum keeps the race war between the Wookiees and the Trandoshan's very much alive. Black Chrysanthemum just goes to town. We finally get to see a Wookiee rip somebody's arms off in a TV show. We get to see it in Lego all the time. So that was nice. It was cool to actually see, what they talked about in episode 1 or episode 4 technically. Um, then after that, Boba finally hires Black Chrysanthemum, which you know we would have thought would have happened last episode, but it didn't. Um, and then they have a meeting with all the crime lords. The crime lords agree to stay neutral in the coming war between Boba and the Pikes. And then Boba and Finnick have a conversation on what the plan is for the war. And that is when Finnick says, how much money we got. And Boba's like, we got enough money, but we don't got enough muscle. And then Finnick says, with the right amount of credits, you can find muscle if you know where to look. And then you hear it. The iconic Mandalorian theme plays in the background. So, obviously, we know where they're going next episode. They are going to go. I'm guessing they're going to go to the Mandalorian camp. So I'm willing to bet we're probably going to see Bo-Katan. We're probably going to see Mando. Probably quite a few other Mandalorians. They're probably going to be camped somewhere. And then they're going to basically probably ask if they can hire some of the Mandalorians as mercenaries. So um, I can only guess that Mando is probably for hire again, because if you think about it, he no longer has um, Grogu anymore. So it's not unlike him to return to the business of being a hired gun. He does have the dark saber, so he technically has the claim to the Mandalorian throne. However, he doesn't want it, and he's probably with Bo-Katan, and they're probably planning to take back Mandalore. So, what that means is I figure that they're probably going to have to strike up a deal because I can't see Bo-Katan being open to giving some of her manpower up because she wants Mandalore. I can't see her giving manpower to go help Boba take on the Pikes. It just doesn't make much sense to me. Like I don't know, but with that iconic theme playing in the background, it's almost a certainty that Din is going to show up. If Din does not show up in the next episode, they are going to. It's going to basically be like playing the Imperial March at the end of an episode, and then the next episode have like a freaking mouse droid come through a door instead of Darth Vader. So, who knows? But that was the end of the episode. So overall, I'd probably say that that episode was probably an 8 out of 10. Um, I think it is the second best episode. Everybody, everybody that I've seen has liked it. Um, I don't think it was as good as episode 2. Chapter 2 was just a great. I don't know. It was just a great piece of Star Wars. So I think that episode 2 is still the best. That might change. I am a massive Mandalorian fan. The Mandalorian is my favorite piece of Disney Star Wars. I love it with a very fiery passion. So, um, I'm very excited for next week's episode. I want to see this tie into. I don't know if it's going to tie into Mandalorian season 3, but just to see what Mando is up to during this time would be awesome. So, going back to talking about the biker gang, um, a lot of the cast has actually responded to the bikers. So, my opinion's well out there. I don't think they've fit in, but it's it's all right. Anyways, so Tamora Morrison, uh, Tamora Morrison came out and said about the biker gang. Some of these things are out of our control. We can't say as performers we don't want to work with these people. That's not good enough. They brought a lot of color to it, I thought. They were great. We're working hard. So that's from Boba Fett himself. So um, there's also a funny quote that I saw that when when Tamor Morrison would have a question about Boba Fett, he would go to Ming Na Wen because she's such a giant Star Wars nerd. And he joked that even like the cameraman and the boom mic operator knew more about Boba Fett than he did, which I just found that funny. So I think Tamora Morrison is bringing his all to this performance, and I just I don't know. I just think he's such a likable guy. So he's given it his all, and he's totally in it. So um, another thing, an issue of Star Wars Insider that came out earlier this week has, I don't know if you could say leaked because it's Star Wars Insider, but they had a little panel that said that Bad Batch season 2 was expected spring of 2022. Uh, so basically, that's in like a month, essentially. Um, Spring is very close, so we could be getting we could be getting it pretty dang soon, pretty dang quick. Um, I'm kind of interested to hear how the production of this has been because it's only been a couple months since the end of Bad Batch season 1. So either they've been working on this for longer, like they just jumped from season 1 to season 2 immediately, or this was a very rushed production. I'd probably say the first option, but needless to say, it's a very fast output for a whole nother season of Bad Batch. And we are hoping, at least I'm hoping, that it is better than Bad Batch Season 1. Bad Batch Season 1 left me wanting more, and not necessarily all in the good way. I thought a lot of its episodes were very weak and did very little in terms of character building. Um, I think the only characters that really got built were Hunter, Omega, and really Wrecker, Crosshair. Yeah, Tech and Echo kind of got left in the dust. So Hunter, Wrecker, Tick. What an iconic accent she has. Hilarious. But yeah, that would be great. Um, I would love to get it in like a month. That'd be phenomenal. Like, so Book of Boba Fett ends, I believe, the 7th of February, which I will actually be at Disney World during the finale of Book of Boba Fett. So don't be expecting a Chimaera Conversations on that Friday or that Wednesday because I will be occupied. Which is kind of unfortunate because a lot of people are probably going to want to hear my opinion, my opinion on the season finale. But what can you do? I didn't plan my vacation around the Book of Boba Fett. So let's see what other. So now that we can suspect that Bad Batch is coming spring of 2022, that opens it for Kenobi. I'm sorry, it's not Kenobi, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's they went with the whole name instead of just Kenobi. Kenobi is probably going to come out in May. Being honest, it's going to come out in May, and then probably in October, November is when Andor is going to come out. Um, I think Kenobi is probably going to break the internet in a lot of ways. Um, it's probably going to have the highest viewership, um, probably out of any of the shows because it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah, spoilers. Obi-Wan does in fact die. Um, it was a leak. The leak was actually this leak. Believe it or not, the leak that Obi-Wan Kenobi died. This was released all the way back in 1977. Can you believe Disney let that leak that long ago? Jeez. Disney is really, really letting stuff slip through the cracks. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Disney does not have that bad of leaks, especially when it comes to these shows, because nobody knew that Luke Skywalker was going to show up at the end of Mandalorian Season 2. That did not leak. So, um, I will now ask my live chat in the Discord server if there's any other topics that they would like to be touched on. So we'll just let them think it out. The future of this place. Apples. Is Plo Koon alive? No. Plo Koon is not alive. He went down in a fireball after he got shot in the back by his clones. So that is what they did. I mean, for a time, yes. Yes, Plo Koon was alive because they were planning The Mandalorian Season 2 around around Plo Koon because they didn't want to let it leak that Luke Skywalker was the character appearing. So they basically put out all this crap with Plo Koon in it. But who knows? Maybe maybe Plo Koon is alive. Dave Filoni has stated multiple times that Plo Koon is his favorite Star Wars character. So maybe maybe I'm not putting it out. I'm not putting it down. But Plo Koon was done very well in Clone Wars, but that's because Dave Filoni loves him. So, um, that is all that I have for this episode. So, I guess we will call it a night. So, thank you for listening to another episode of my amazingly produced podcast. And we'll see you next week.